Welcome back to the Innovative Agency, everyone. Sharon Torek back with you again today. And we're going to take a turn today on a topic that we have visited on the show in some prior episodes, but with, I think, a unique hook on it that will be helpful for some of you agency owners out there who are SEO specialists or include SEO in your menu of services and deliverables. And that is, when did you think about expanding your capabilities into other areas? And today, specifically video, what does that mean to your effectiveness as an agency in SEO? And so I'm really excited to interview today Lee Black, who founded Antilles, which is an SEO focused agency that now has a full scale video production operation in house. And so, first of all, Lee, welcome. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the conversation. So SEO is very dynamic. It changes quickly and a lot. And I think what everybody is primarily concerned about, or at least talking about, is the AI impact on SEO. So we won't necessarily go down that road today unless you take us there. But I want to talk about something that's a little more, I feel like, evergreen, and that is the presence of video and how it impacts SEO. And I think you probably have a unique point of view on this, as demonstrated by the fact that you guys have kind of doubled down in terms of adding video in-house in your operations. So let's start there, I guess. Let's talk a little bit about how you decided that that was the right move to make for the agency and how you think it will play with the SEO work that your agency does.
Yeah, actually, it's funny you mentioned the AI part because that's one of the reasons why we implemented more video services. So just to touch briefly on that to kind of lead in,
Mhm.
we know with AI, there's 250,000 websites that are being made every single day. There's actively 1.13 live websites in Google's kind of Rolodex and within that are indexed on their website or within all the websites. So with so many of these new websites being made using AI, it's taking old recycled content that's really not giving a lot of user experience, an optimal, just positive user experience. And because everything's kind of being recycled, what's the one thing you can't really recycle? What's the one thing that we know that if we make it and it's specifically custom and unique for each of our clients, it's video services.
Mhm.
So that kind of led into, okay, well, if all the other websites that are decreasing in ranking are giving a poor user experience, what's really that one thing that people are looking for? And again, that's video services, which is why you see TikTok being so huge and Google really rewarding unique user experience rich content. And the one thing that we always see it comes down to is if you're optimizing videos through YouTube, linking those back to your website, because YouTube's a Google owned domain, kind of
Mhm.
within that realm, it just kind of doubles down on that. So for us, just taking a look holistically at everything, what's working, what's creating a good user experience, what's Google rewarding, everything pointed back to just optimal, unique video content that's really focused on the specific service page or the branding of every client.
Mhm. Now, so as you service more clients and, created more deliverables, at what point did you decide as an agency owner that it made sense to invest in bringing the video operation underneath your roof versus forming a strategic alliance with a video production company or some other third party who does that on a specialized basis? What were some of the key decision criteria that you sort of went through as a leader of the agency before figuring out whether that made sense for you?
Yeah, that's that conversation was really about 3 or 4 month conversation. We used a lot of third party resources, which were great, and it's one
Mhm.
of those where we didn't really have the time to really invest in that and to learn it. For us, we always want to focus on quality, and because we work with so many really good people in every specific space, whether that's social media, whether that's print media, videography, we had a lot of great referral partners that we worked with. And for us, I always like to pick the brain of everyone that I work with. So we worked with a variety of different videographers, finding, okay, what's the best type of video equipment for each of the specific levels of service that we have. that we use. A lot of those are going to be home service businesses. We do have some e-com, a lot are in the medical field. So we probably test drove about 10 different video companies that we referred out to really find, okay, these are the equipment that they use, this is the software that they use to edit. And it was a lot. So for us, when we decided to bring that in-house, we grew to a level where a professional level where the quality of our clients and what they were looking for and their revenue really dictated that.
Mhm.
And that's when we went out and got our own equipment. We invested in that, and we're actually able to offer that as a service. So we had a lot of people like, hey, I want some video type stuff, some small things. Where I had real estate companies that, hey, I just want a drone shot,
Mhm.
refer that out, right? It just doesn't make sense. But when we started to build up our clients, especially our base level clients, that, hey, I just want local SEO, I just want a website. Okay, well, as we start growing the revenue, they had higher needs. So when their options for what they could spend increases because of their revenue, and we delivered that, we were the first person they came back to. So I think it was a week, I had 6 clients that said, hey, we want video services. And
Mhm.
it's like, okay, well, we know what the previous companies we were working with, we knew what they had, we knew what they were charging. We just could kind of look at the numbers and it made sense. So we literally went out and ordered a whole camera setup. We have a Sony FX3 Netflix approved quality, again, quality. And we want to make sure that it lasted a long time for us and it delivers that high quality that we're looking for. And we've been doing video services now for the past 8-9 months. We've done shoots down in Puerto Rico. We've done things in Tennessee, North Carolina, New York, California. It opens up a lot of doors, and it's something that we're excited to really put out there, because when you can offer more services, our clients, and especially other clients that we're going to be talking to us and maybe other SEO services, we can offer that in one house. They just need to come to one place.
Yeah,
So it makes sense. So it's helped us not only grow current revenue, but also we become more attractive to prospects.
right. And, one thing that agency owners that I talk to, and I talk to dozens of them, every month, are always concerned about is maintaining margin, right? It's a narrow margin industry. And did you find that, of course, it's an initial investment, right? You have to leverage it over time and amortize it and such. But do you find that it has had a positive impact on margins for you to have the video in-house versus, allying with another outside vendor to do that work?
Yeah, and that's so for us it's worked because we waited until we had the clientele, and we've been really blessed to have clients all across the country, over 100 active clients. So we had that built in already, where again we were just outsourcing that and waiting. I would say for a lot of smaller agencies that are thinking, hey, should I really invest in this? I think if you have to think longer about it, I think that's more likely, hey, you don't need it. There's a point in which you know that it's going to bring you that return on your investment when you are having repeat clients, and then you can start rolling that into the services that you offer. And that's actually what we did. So for about 3 months, I found the different outsourcing video services that I really liked, and then I actually found one, loved them. They're still a great referral partner for us if we have something outside of our normal scope. And I said, okay, we're going to start advertising this, that we're doing in house. You're going to be contracted through us to operate as Antilles Digital Media. So we started advertising for that, and we had to learn how to advertise for it and how to sell it. So if you are interested, or if you're an agency, like, is it really worth it? Have you started already trying to sell it? Have you already started trying to price it? And it's having those clear communications with your partner that you're using that with. That was huge. I wouldn't have known how to price it. I wouldn't have known how to sell it. I wouldn't have known, like with other SEO clients, what to look for, right? The small things are
Yeah.
really going to tell you, is it going to really bring you a return on your investment? Finding a really good partner that knows those margins is extremely important.
That's a good point because if you don't have experience understanding the cost of delivering that, either as a standalone service or what the vendor's true costs have been to you, because they're not always gonna be transparent completely about that. You might not know how to price it yourself, and therefore you might not be doing yourself any favors, in the margin department, right? You're
Yeah, we
you're
ran
still
into
having
that.
the convenience of the one-stop shopping, but not necessarily reflecting it in your P&L at the end of the day, so that's good feedback.
Yeah, I mean, and even when I felt comfortable, I still made mistakes.
Yeah.
And I tell my team all the time, you can make a mistake as long as we okay, why did we make that mistake? What led to that? How can we move forward with that? And we did that in the beginning where we said, hey, it's part of our monthly services that we have, but then we just got hit and hit and hit with, okay, well, I want to take these other videos and edit those and all these other supplemental things that were technically under a video services. And we said, okay, we have video editing and then we have video production. So with our video editing services we just run that just by the hour. So we can take as much as we need to. We don't worry about it. Video production is something completely different that we price differently. And I never would have known that unless we went and started selling it and then finding things that came up. And it really, I think just like with SEO, it's an ever changing type of thing. It's one of those where I don't think you're ever going to get anything right the first time. It's just being able to look back and say, okay, what did I learn from this? What mistakes did we make? What did we do well at the first time? And just build on those successes and fix anything that you need to along the way. And it just made things so much easier. And we're seeing amazing results, especially after the big March update where a lot of websites just totally lost traffic.
Right.
They lost rankings. Again, just delivering again to me and our agency with SEO is quality over quantity, delivering what Google wants. And to me, I have to make Google money as an agency owner if I'm doing SEO, because if I'm making Google lose money by delivering poor website quality, poor user experience, I'm not
Right.
giving Google a reason to rank me. So that's how we just look at it, follow the money with Google and what's really working for Google and other companies. It always goes back to video services. That's their big thing.
I'm glad you said that because that's a great segue into what I was going to ask you about is whether having the video now. I mean, you were already using video as part of your strategy. You were just contracting out for it, but now that you've got it more readily accessible to you because you've got this is built into your team and your model. Has it impacted your strategies or your techniques or the way that the agency approaches its SEO strategies now with clients? Do
Yeah,
you feel like, okay, tell me a little bit about that.
yeah, absolutely. So, before it was what's on the website and, having to outsource videos, it was always secondary. And then now it is our number one priority. So what we do if we were to get a new client, so for example, we have a brand new pool company that's based out of Maine, North Carolina, very visual heavy on the website and really connecting with the people that are buying a product or service. We can do SEO to get them to the website, but then when they get to the website, what is going to connect with them, to resonate with them, to make that emotional, I'm buying this company, right? So they're problem aware, they're solution aware. I need to, click on this ad, especially for ads. Videos have been phenomenal because it builds in that emotional response.
Right.
And so for this, being able to go out and actually film and use that instead of just photos, being able to build that emotion behind it. So for the pool company, before they just had photos of nice pools. And for us as a business and the way that we look at marketing, we have to speak to the buyers directly and to the people that are clicking on the ads. And that's a buyer's belief. So why are people wanting a pool installed? Well, they're not having a pool installed just to look at it, right? And
Right.
that's what you get with a photo. So with our videos, what we're doing is we're crafting unique messages about why people are going to be buying a pool. We're having videos and shooting where people are actually in the pools with their family and the guys are grilling out, the women are laying out, and being able to convey that in a 60-second video that maybe runs in the background or goes through a timeline of them building a pool and what that expects. So just with the videos alone, we're able to create that emotional connection to say these people understand why I want a pool. It's not just to look at it, it's to enjoy it with our family. But then also when people are going to be making, for example, this company doesn't really do pools that are less than $100,000, very expensive. So we're able to give them the information as well. So what is the process like from planning to design to excavation, modeling, building it out, and then the after. So we're able to show that in a video that, again, brings that emotion into it. So we've seen increases from not only clicks to the website, conversions on the website, but the
Right.
conversations for our client they're not asking us 100 questions because you're able to present that information on the front end. So it's a
Right.
much smoother, easier selling process for them. And they're seeing higher conversion rates because of it.
Which every marketer wants to hear because every salesperson likes to blame lack of performance on marketing, and every marketing person likes to blame lack of results on poor sales. So,
Right.
this is sort of a way to close the gap where you're sort of doing you lifting duty for both sides of the house. So I love that, and I can see how that's totally effective, and that you're tracking the differences between the performance of the marketing that includes it versus, that maybe not just to the same degree. Um, so we were chatting, you and I, a little bit before we started the interview about, obviously, videos prevalence in TikTok, and we're sitting here in mid-April, late April 2024, and we don't know what's going to happen with TikTok. I mean, I certainly have my point of view from a legal perspective on where things might be headed, but um, what is from a creator standpoint, which I would consider any agency a creator in the TikTok space. I'm sure the talent you use pictures themselves at the creators, but everyone involved in the creative process. What what do you think that the industry will do to adjust to changes in the product, based upon, all of the drama around the regulation of it right now? Are you thinking ahead about what your strategy would be, or just kind
Yeah.
of sitting on your
I,
hands waiting to see what happens?
yeah. I mean, for me, it's always been about what's going to come next and how do you prepare for that, right? I'd rather take time to prepare in advance rather
Right.
than sit around and not do anything and all of a sudden I have to chase my tail.
Right. So
I
what are you
think,
doing and yeah, that's great strategy.
yeah, I think you have to, right? And
Yeah.
that's how you stay ahead of it. So for us, I'm looking at it this way, right? People are always going to sell. Google is going to continue to make its money, and Google takes 95% of all search traffic. So Google really is the granddaddy of the internet and for marketing. As much as TikTok's done well, I work with companies that only do sales and ads on TikTok. But I think even if it's banned, we'll start with there, right? So if it is banned, what did we learn from TikTok? And
Hmm.
for me, it's short form content sells. Having a direct message with TikTok, it's all videos.
Right.
So if you're on Instagram and you're running ads on Instagram or Meta, for us, we always say videos because it has better stopping power. So videos sell. Now, if you're on TikTok and you have to sell on TikTok, now if everyone's running videos, you have to make sure that your initial 3 seconds has the stopping power. My
Hmm.
wife will be on TikTok if we're in bed and she's just going through videos and she doesn't even wait those 3 seconds. She's like, boom, boom, boom. So for us, taking TikTok and competing in TikTok says your first 3 seconds are more important than anything. So I think we're taking learning lessons from that. And then how can we
Hmm.
apply that to the website? And how a marketer is going to learn from that. And then for me, it's going to continue on your selling message, getting that emotional attachment, getting your initial hook in, and then making sure that message resonate and continues to sell. So whatever happens with TikTok, I think it's really shown that in an elevated playing field where there's tons of creatives or tons of really high quality videos that are there, it kind of rises everything to the top. And think you're seeing that a lot with AI, kind of going back to that. With
Hmm.
AI content, you're having a bunch of stuff just slammed into websites that are just repeat, not very good user experience, right?
Right.
So if you know what works really well in the highest performing or the highest kind of like leverage situations with videos, you can take that and apply it back to your website now, and it's only going to stand out more.
Well, and I think it's a great point, and I think it's also been great training ground for um, adapting to consumers ever shorter attention spans, right? And
Right.
if it works on TikTok, it's going to work on any other video
Yeah,
platform.
pretty much. Yeah.
Because it's not like we're willing to sit and watch any longer on a YouTube video than we are all, necessarily on scrolling through TikTok or on a website embedded video. Um,
Right.
so I think that's very helpful to keep in mind that it's been a great training exercise while a lot of people have made a ton of money using the platform to create much shorter form content. And I think I don't know what your perspective is on this, but I think it's been a great teaching ground for the practice of influence marketing too, because influence marketing was sort of born on Instagram, but it has evolved and sharpened and honed on TikTok. And so I think that the way that practice has evolved will be greatly affected no matter what happens to the platform ultimately. And I think this is a good lesson. I'd love your feedback on this too. think this is a good lesson on not, building your house on any one platform, um,
That's
ever
huge.
as
That
an
that
agency.
I mean, like I said, I have 3 or 4 companies that I've worked with in the past that found really good success on TikTok, and
Yeah.
they are great guys that I know that are super smart that have tried other things and they absolutely crush it on TikTok. And I kind of get worried for them. It's like, well, what are you gonna do? You know, you did some Meta. It's okay. There's so and Meta is so bogged down. And if you
Mhm.
advertise on Meta, the prices are always really, really good. And now kind of people are catching up. TikTok's one of those for younger people where the consumers on there are younger, less used. So the cost per leads, the cost per acquisition using TikTok, if it's targeted correctly, um, we're better than everyone else as well. So I think it's also showing a little bit of that, but I'm you can't ever base it on one. So for us, when we're doing pay per click, we focus on Meta, we focus on Google. Google Guarantee has stuff that's out now. We've done some TikTok, but that's one of those where I refer to the experts on those. So I bring a
Mhm.
couple other agencies that I've used in house if we are doing TikTok ads for things that they've used. Very similar to what we did with video services, but we haven't taken a look at bringing the TikTok marketing in house yet
Mhm.
because of the issues that you're addressing. It's like, I'm not going to add that to our stuff, build that out. I'm just going to go with the experts that know that side.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of agencies are going to be struggling and they might have found really it's a success on TikTok because they might have been the first ones to it.
Yeah.
But when that's gone, they kind of have to catch back up, kind of swim in open waters again.
It's the common, lesson in marketing that you don't build your house on rented land, right? Whether that's sticking to one platform or whether it's sticking to one particular tactic or technique. It's just ultimately these are tools and you have to be nimble, right, about how you use them.
Right. Yeah. Siloing is what we call siloing, right? So, I mean, you're going to have for any marketing agency that I know that's out there when you're working with in a variety of different industries. So, for us, we work with people in medical, home service, legal, you name it. So, for us, we have specific silos that we know that each industry really kind of fits in.
Yeah.
So, for us, if it is say a client that we have is an appliance repair company, right? And they're an immediate need right now. If someone breaks their washer or dryer, they need that service now. So for that, we
Yeah.
go to Google because that's where the top 3%, the red hot buyers, that's where they're going to go. If it's TikTok, if your washer breaks, you're just not going to sit there forever, and then you might be on TikTok later, like, oh, I actually need that service or product now. This just
Yeah.
doesn't fit that demographic. So for us, we segment everything out. Okay, where does this ad make sense? Where does this work? And so for us, we want to make sure that we have a very wide a variety of options because
Hmm.
again, anything could shut down.
Yeah.
We've had clients.
You don't have time to keep scrolling while your washing machine is leaking all over the
Yeah, and
floor.
yeah, and clients ask us about that too. Clients ask us
Yeah.
about that, have no idea. They're like, "Hey, can I want to do stuff on TikTok?" And I had this conversation earlier this week. And he's like,
Mhm.
"Yeah, we're an appliance repair. We want to do TikTok ads." I'm like, "Great. Who do you expect to target with that?" Well, people that have broken appliances. Fair enough. Do you think people that have an appliance broken, do you think instead of going to Google and looking up appliance repair near me, finding that, or do you think they're going to TikTok to look for that? Or they're going to
Mhm.
Facebook for that? They're not. They're going to Google and like that's what it works for.
Yeah.
But if people just to make them more solution aware or kind of branding services or marketing agencies, for example, and making someone solution aware, that's what we found works really, really well for TikTok, for Meta, and really with TikTok is vanity services. So if anyone, so we have plastic surgeons, we have orthodontists, specifically Invisalign, anything that's vanity driven, TikTok does extremely well, extremely well. Um,
Interesting.
yeah, it's one of those where it's a vanity type platform. So anyone that's looking to get those more vanity type services, they've
Right.
done really, really well for them.
Interesting. Okay. Well, this has been a really fascinating walk through a lot of things, deciding as an agency owner when to bring something in house and how it interplays with the other services you already provide to your clients. Sort of how search as aided by video is evolving a little bit and how the platforms are evolving. And I think a lot of helpful takeaways for other agency owners who are, pondering some of these questions. So, Lee, thank you so much
You're
for
welcome.
walking us through your journey a little bit. And I'd love it if you could tell us a little bit about where other agencies can find out about what your agency's doing or get in touch with you particularly.
Yeah. Easy enough. AntillesDigitalMedia.com. We're on all platforms: Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, even though however long that lasts.
Yeah.
Um, but a little bit about us. We specialize. We started in the substance abuse recovery field, which is an extremely competitive industry. Now we have over 100 clients across the country. We have 16 employees that are all US based. Um, we focus on delivering value for clients, and really most of our clients can find us either if it's on our ads or anything else. We have a guarantee that I know is unique in our space, which is we can guarantee results on SEO, increased keyword rankings, increase website traffic, and take away your local competitors' traffic within 60 days. And if we
Mm,
don't do it, not only do I refund you 100% of your money, I actually pay you $1,000 for wasting your time. So
awesome.
even in our ad segments, we do that because all the things we kind of talked about earlier, which is what our clients looking for, implementing video services, all the
Right.
things that help rank on Google, we slam that into your website and your content, and that's how we can guarantee results. So we're not just talking the talk when we're having this conversation about video services. It really does work, and it's one of those things that you're going to have to start doing if you're an agency and really take seriously.
Right. All right. All of you who are looking for potential sources and partners in North Carolina, keep Lee in mind. All right, Lee, thank you so much for joining us today. And
Thank you,
thank
Sarah.
all of you for listening. It was great talking with you all again today, and I will see you on the next episode of Innovative Agency. Stay well until then.